be around 30 to 40 feet long, or about half of this viewing area. And yes, this is still big enough to house them when they get that big. Now there are 4 whale sharks and 4 manta rays in there. Now whale sharks and manta rays have one thing in common, besides being cartilaginous fish, and that is that they're filter feeders. So the biggest fish in the ocean, the whale shark, is actually a filter feeder. It feeds on things like krill, which are tiny little shrimp. We feed them silver suds, which are about the bit as big as my pinky finger. And we also feed them nutritional gel. And so when we feed them, we'll actually put that stuff in a bucket and kind of drag it along the surface of the water in boats. And they'll do what's called ram filter feeding, which they'll just open their mouths and swim forward and catch all the fish in their mouth. Now the whale sharks have a throat about the size of a quarter, so that's all they can swallow. Now with the manta rays, they also feed with that ram filter feeding thing. Now you'll notice with the manta rays, they have these appendages coming off of their mouths. Those are called cephalic lobes. So what they're going to do with those is actually siphon water into their mouths with those. So when they're rolled down, they can funnel that water into their mouths, and then when they're not feeding, they'll actually just roll them back up, and they just kind of look like horns. Now you might notice some smaller looking manta rays in there, and those are actually lesser double rays, so that's a completely different species. They're not actually the manta rays babies. Now, I get asked a lot, why don't the fish eat each other in here? We have sharks, we have little fish, so that's the perfect predatory prey relationship. But we keep them well fed, so they all have, I mean, it's funny, but it is true. They all have full stomachs, so they're not as aggressive as they usually are. Now, a little kind of FYI. So the way you can tell a shark from a ray, because there are some fish in here that look like sharks, but they're actually considered a ray. So if you look at the gill slit placement, a shark is going to have gill slits on the side of its body, whereas a ray is going to have gill slits underneath. So, for example, the starfish, which is swimming right here, is actually a ray, it's not a shark, because the gill slits are under its body. So it looks like a shark a lot, but it's actually considered a ray. And that's the same with the saltfish. That's also considered a ray. No, here we go, this guy right here, the humphead wrasse. So this guy can choose what gender it is all the time. Right now, I'm not sure what gender it is right now, but it is actually a pretty aggressive fish. So when it's after prey, it is going to get its prey. It can actually uncover it if the prey hides under a rock. It'll pick up the rock, it'll bite it, twirl to try to get at its prey. It's a pretty aggressive fish. Another aggressive fish in here, which I got asked a lot too, when divers are down there, aren't they scared of the sharks or something? Actually, what they would be more scared of is the giant grouper, believe it or not. So the giant grouper is a pretty aggressive fish. Of course, there's not one up here. I'm talking about them, so they're going to swim that way. But the giant grouper, you probably saw him in the tunnel. There's a really big fish with kind of a